book is algebra.
The algebra book? You mean, what do you mean?
Like the other A3 class.
They're using the normal algebra book.
They are.
The one that you'll be using next year?
Is it look the same?
I mean, it looks like this. There's algebra on it.
Oh.
And it's pretty thick too. Here's your book. Here's that other book.
Oh my.
Wait till you see your biology book for next year. I believe the biology book is the largest book in the school.
Oh.
Yeah, because everything's yours.
All right, any questions on the homework? But that's next year. Let's make it through this year. All right, we're gonna do this quickly. It's a Friday. I usually just collect, but we'll call out the answers just to make sure we got this. All right, here we go. Number 2, z equals -7. Number 4, a equals 17. Number 6, r equals 36. Number 8, q equals -69. Number 10, r equals -91. Number 12, n equals 84. Number 14, d equals 17. All right, whoa. Never mind. Not George we're looking for. Number 14, d equals 85/2. If you change that to a mixed number, 42.5. Number 16, so p equals, they don't give it to me as an improper fraction. It would be large. They gave it to me as a mixed number, -55 and 4/5. Let's see. Ooh. What is that? Who's got it as an improper fraction? Somebody? No?
No, I got 55.8.
Well,
I got negative.
why would you get a 55.8? Where does it say to change things to a decimal? So why would you change it to a decimal?
Because when you divide it, it turns into a decimal.
No, it would turn into a fraction, which you would reduce.
Oh.
Okay, do not change things into decimals. Not because it's mathematically wrong, because it adds an extra step of complexity.
No, I just divide it.
Yeah, but I'm saying you write it as a fraction and you leave it as a fraction. Don't make it more complicated. It's not because it's wrong mathematically, it's because it's not required. You write it as a fraction and you reduce the fraction. Don't change it to a decimal. I'm trying to help you here. If you change it to a decimal, you get it wrong, meaning like you make a little tiny error. Okay? Well, I didn't make it wrong because I had a calculator next. Okay, great. But I'm saying on a test, you don't have a calculator next to you. Now you try to change 1,756 over 432 into a decimal, and you mess it up. Just leave it as a fraction and be done with it. All right, number 18, b equals 1,922. Number 20, t equals -2,160. Number 22, b equals 30. Number 24, b equals, this one has a decimal because it starts with a decimal, 10.8. Number 26, once again, it has a decimal, so it finishes with a decimal. 26, a equals 30.36. 28, d equals 20. 30, x equals -9/2. If you made it as a mixed number, -4.5. I do not recommend you change things to mixed numbers unless it's required. And the last one, n equals -5/6. -5/6. Put how many you got wrong on top. Yes. 10. R equals -91. Yes, David.
I'm a negative doctor.
David.
What was 30?
30 was -9/2. Yes, David.
What was number 22?
B equals 30. All right, click. That's up. All right, as all that's going on, homework is on the board. Someone remind me to pass the test out into class. 3-day weekend. We got nothing until next Friday. Genevieve.
Remind me, Dr.
I can't hear Genevieve because you guys are talking.
Can I go? I lost my other go buddy.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hey, it's worksheet today.
Hey, if we get
I will not remind you again.
We have it?
Can we pass out the worksheet right now?
Absolutely not. We're doing something new.
Oh.
But I know most of it.
Guess who's not?
You don't even know what we're doing yet. Haven't shown
I
you.
know what to do last class. Multiplication.
That was last
Oh,
class.
pizza. No, no. It's adding and one other thing. It's like that's a subtraction.
No, it's a negative.
So therefore, how many steps are we doing?
Two.
So what's this class on?
Two steps.
This class is on a two-step equation.
Okay.
I can do two-step problems.
All of them?
Yeah, not all of them, but most of them.
No, write down.
You can do this in 1 minute, Jaden. You do not have homework. 59, 58,
I don't even have a piece of paper.
57,
50 cents.
56.
I'm not gonna pay for it.
Okay.
I don't have a paper app.
Wait, I could do that.
No, you couldn't.
Not good.
You
All right.
just give me a problem and we're getting done in a minute. And the instructions to be done. I actually take time for my work, so I make sure I'm mostly correct.
Equals 4.
All right, here we go. Now, listen up, please. Up here. Bring it up here. So the book doesn't call it a two-step equation. Math teachers call it two steps because it takes 2 steps. So the book calls this section 5.5 using several transformations. 5.5, I'm going to break down into 1, 2, 3, 4 classes. 4 classes, and that's because 5.5 covers way too much. I don't know what the authors of our book were thinking. There's too much stuff in 5.5 for you to do in 1 class. So I'm going to break this 1 class, 5.5, into 4 classes. And then, yes, I jumped to 5.9. 5.9 is word problems involving 2 steps. But I want to make sure I spend 4 days on 2 steps, not because it necessarily needs, it definitely needs 2 days. I always have a 3rd day to make sure, and then because it's a pre-algebra, you can't do algebra 1, you walk in, you got to know how to solve a 2-step. It's the basics of the class. So I do not let any kid that I teach leave my presence without me saying, hey, I know that kid knows 2 steps. And if they don't, well, then I tell that teacher. But this is why we're going to do 4 days of this. And then we'll move on to multiple step equations. Those are those 5 and 6 step ones. And I forget what 5, 7 is, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Okay. So this is called a 2-step because where's the variable? Left or right?
Left.
It's on the left side. How many numbers are over there with the letter N? So I need to take 2 steps. I can't get rid of 2 numbers at once. I can only get rid of 1 number at a time. That's why it takes 2 steps. Okay. Now, some of you might be able to look at that and figure it out just by looking at it, but most of us can't, especially when there's decimals or fractions involved, right? You can't, and that's why I gave Jaden that one, because I'm pretty confident that it takes more than a minute to get that one done. Okay, tonight, agreed. But you said, can I just have the worksheet? I already know how to do it. I'm trying to show you that that's not true. Okay, so how do you get this? Well, we have options now, right? Because there's 2 things to get rid of, you get to pick which one you want to get rid of. My job as the algebra teacher is to show you the easiest way to solve these. You are literally allowed to get rid of whatever number you want, but you can't violate the rule of algebra that says whatever you do to one side, you must do it to the other. A lot of people, their eyeball goes right to the end. They're like, well, I want to get rid of 3 first. Okay, you can, right? I don't recommend it. That's the harder way of doing this. Okay, I always recommend when it's a 2-step to get rid of your addition subtraction first. 99.9% of the time, that's what you do. There is one special case where you want to get rid of the multiplication division first, not the adding subtracting. And we will look at that this year. All right. So remember, our goal is to get the variable by itself, right? Well, which is n. So I need to get rid of the 3. I need to get rid of the -6. You have a choice, right? 3 is attached to n by multiplication. 6 is attached to x by subtraction. So we're either going to divide everything by 3 or we're going to add 6 to both sides. For me, Adding is simpler, way simpler than multiplying or dividing. So I'm going to show you that when you get a two-step, it makes sense to get rid of addition, subtraction first. That's what we're going to do. Okay? All right, almost always. There is one special case one. All right, so let's do this one. Let's see, we want to add 6 to both sides. So to get rid of -6, we add 6 to both sides. 15 and 6.
21.
Okay? Notice I'm no longer putting that n plus 0. I said I was going to start skipping that step. I'm skipping that step. We okay with that? How do we get rid of 3? Subtract by multiplication, so we divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 cancels. 21 divided by 3 is 8. Algebra isn't too hard, right? You just have to do the math correctly. Yes?
So if you started with the 3.
Well, I'll describe that here in a second. Okay? All right. Oh, by the way, we're claiming that 7 is the answer. That check step for doing one-step equations doesn't make any sense. It's only one step. But when you have 2 or more steps, maybe it makes sense. I'm claiming that 7 is the answer. Well, how do I figure out that it truly is? Go ahead, Preston. I'm going to throw 7 in for n. That's 3 times 7 is 21. Let me catch up with you. 3 times 7 is 21, and 21 minus 6 is in fact 15. So we know it's true. Do you have to do a check step? No, not ever. But if you're sitting there at the test, you know, Gabby's done in like 15 minutes on her test, and she kind of sits there, right? She should be doing a check step, right, to make sure that she, you know, gets a perfect score rather than just an A. Yes? Okay. All right. So, just to show you, for those of you that said let's just,
the other one worked.
I know, which is why I'm going to show you on this one, right? So what Jackson wants to say is, well, could we get rid of the 5? Well, let's do that. Let's get rid of the 5 first. How's the 5 attached to P? So what's the inverse of division or multiplication? So we need to divide everything by, let's divide everything by 5. Oh, fraction. The 5s would cancel, and you'd be left with P minus 2/5 equals 18 over 5. Hey, what was the last chapter on?
Fractions.
Okay, now you get to do more fractions. Enjoy. Okay. How is 2/5 attached to P?
No multiplication.
How is 2/5 attached to P? How do we get rid of subtraction?
Division.
What?
Division.
Oh, it sounded like you said division.
I did.
Okay, I did hear division, right. All right, so we're going to add 2/5 to both sides. Let's see, add 2/5 to both sides. Do we have common denominators? Luckily you do. Sometimes you won't. 18/5 and 2/5 is,
25.
so we get P is equal to 20 over 5, which is another name for 4. Now, we got to an answer. Whoever's humming, please stop. We got to an answer, but we had to deal with fractions. Watch what happens if instead of getting rid of the 5, I get rid of. So what are we going to do to both sides?
Subtract. Add. Sorry, I saw the subtract sign.
What's 20 and 2? What's 18 and 2? Sorry.
20.
What do we do with the 5? Isn't that easier?
Go back to the other one.
20, I know. There do exist some that are just as easy, but most of them are not. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. We got the same answer, but we didn't have to deal with fractions until the very last step. In the very last step, one thing always cancels, and the other one you just either it comes to a whole number or an integer, or you simply reduce the fraction. Okay? I'm going to suggest to always get rid of addition, subtraction, but there is one special case. If you want to get rid of what's attached to the P by multiplication or division, you can do it, but you got to do it to everything. All right. Let's do box 2 together. Here we go. Box 2. The variables on the
Left, right side, left side. Left.
side.
Left.
Who was it in class last year that did the same thing?
Shepherd.
No, Shepherd.
Me?
Donovan. Okay.
We
Yeah.
saw him.
We saw him today. Donovan was here.
Okay. I know why he was.
Look, I did the last problem.
All right. Here we go. So we need to get rid of either the 4 or the 6. Which one do you want to get rid of?
6.
So how do we get rid of plus 6?
Minus 6.
Both sides. Okay. Minus 6. Both sides. 34 minus 6 is, now what? 4 is attached through multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by 4 divided by 4 cancels. 28 divided by 4 is, okay. Now here's what I see in class. Over half of the class has already seen the light. And they're like, yeah, I got this. My concern is that other third of the class or so, they're not saying anything, and they may be sitting there like, I don't know what's going on, kind of lost. Okay, so I need the people that know the answers to wait a few seconds to allow everyone to give it some thought, so that the people that are maybe, I don't know, I could be wrong, maybe everyone's got it, right? But generally what happens is that, I have a couple kids that will they'll sit there and they're like, I don't want anyone else to know that I'm lost on this, right? And they just kind of sit there. What?
Can't this also work with the 4? If you take away the 4.
Okay, so you want to divide 34 by 4? Okay, what's 34 divided by 4?
8. No, it's 32 with 13. Never mind, doesn't work.
Well, it works in the sense that it'll still think, hey, I'll go ahead and show you this because eventually I show this. Hey, remember the statement I made the other day that you can even do the wrong thing and still get to the right answer?
Yeah.
What was the right answer here? 7. Let's do the wrong thing. How do you get rid of 6? No, you add 6 to both sides. Is that the right thing or the wrong thing?
And then divide it by
What
4.
did you say the final answer was? So x equal, I'm going to show you that I'm still going to get to x equals 7, even when I do the wrong thing. Jenna, what's 6 plus 6?
12.
Not 0, so it's plus 12. All right. And 34 plus 6?
40.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
can I have David to the office?
He's on his way.
Thank you.
Dave, you're leaving, right? Okay. All right. Oh, I didn't do anything. I just made every number bigger, but we can still get to 7. Watch. How do you get rid of plus 12?
You add 12.
Well, now we're really going to make it ugly. Now let's do the right thing now, which is subtract 12. If I subtract 12 from both sides, I get 4x equals 40 minus 12. How about 18?
18.
Is that right? 28. Sorry.
28.
No.
No, wait.
We divide both sides by 4, and guess what we still get? X equals 7.
Well, that takes longer.
Oh, yeah, it does. You gave yourself extra
I
work.
got all the hard ones.
So the issue is this, though. What I will see generally on a test is the kid that's not paying attention, and they'll write plus 6 to both sides, but they'll be thinking subtract 6. And so they will
cancel that.
They will subtract 6 from 6 and get 0. They'll write 4x, and then they lose their brain, and they go over here, oh, it says 34, and they'll put 40, and they'll get x equals 10. So the issue is that when they do the wrong thing, add 6 to both sides, they don't actually do the wrong thing. They do it half wrong, right? Okay. But two-step equations aren't that challenging, right? You just follow the 2 steps, and you get your answer. All right, do box 3, please, all by yourself.
Can I get the worksheet?
Do
I know
box
that
3,
one's right.
all by yourself. No, that was wrong.
No,
That was wrong.
no. I checked that one.
It's wrong.
No,
Do you want to bet double homework that it's wrong?
no, but I want the worksheet.
Well, you haven't done it right yet.
Yes, I have. What do you need? Okay.
At what part do I need to stop saying it's wrong?
So, one.
Yeah.
Both sides, 1, 1,
Yes.
0. Minus
No. Anything divided by itself is 1, not 0.
Oh,
Yes. Go for it.
so wait. It's still negative.
Is it negative?
It's negative
Cut what makes
because there's it's a
negative.
negative
What box is that?
divided by a negative. Box A. No, it's 2. Bro. Negative.
I will prove you wrong.
And negative divided by
If it's
You're wrong already. I already know you're wrong.
where am I?
double homework.
All right, we good? All right, Christian, talk us through that first one on the left. What do we do first? Add 18 both sides, that gives me 30. Now what? 18 and 12 is 30 divided by 5 is 6. I get n equals 6. We got it? Okay. Aiden, talk me through the second one.
It's negative.
Hush, hush. 9 minus 6 is 3. No. What number are you trying to get rid of? You're saying that's a 3?
Negative.
So divide both sides by -3. What did I say the most common mistake you will make in algebra? Dropping a negative. Okay? We divide both sides by -3. Kai's question was this: any number divided by itself is 1, it cancels. Kai, a positive divided by a negative?
Negative.
So the answer is?
Negative.
Now stop eating like class, please. All right. Questions? All right, we're going to move on. The only difference here is that this one has decimals, right? It's the same procedure, right? Doesn't change, but it does have decimals. All right. So what's the first thing I'm going to do here? I'm going to add 1.2 to both sides. Stop me if you're lost. Jenna, what's 4.8 and 1.2? Well, let's do the math then. How about something 0.0? Then what's the answer? No. It's not 0 point something, it's something 0.0.
No, you don't.
Hey, let her find that out herself. Hey, Katie and Aiden, stop please. 6.0 is 0.6, right? Jenna, what's the last step then? Just not the answer, what's the last step? Do what to both sides? Do what to both sides? Where's the variable? What side? What's attached? How is it attached? Do the inverse. Tell me what to do. Where is the variable? Left or right side? What's attached to it? X is the variable. What's attached to X? That's not a 5. That's not a 5. How is it attached? Attached to either addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. How is it attached? Okay, where's the division symbol? So how is it attached? How do we get rid of multiplication? Okay, so what are we going to divide both sides by? If you show up to class, yes, you're going to be asked to do math. If you show up to class, yes, you're going to be asked to do math. Let's do math. Okay, what are we going to divide both sides by? And no, it's not like a secret code words for don't show up to class. I'm just saying, don't act like what? You're asking me to do math? That's crazy. Well, you're looking at me like I'm asking you crazy things. Right. So what are we going to divide both sides by? It's not 5. Speak. Jenna, I hear you talk all the time. You're not afraid to talk. What are we going to divide both sides by? Hey, I'm just saying this. This whole thing is to try to help you. Let me help you. Don't resist the help. Right? It doesn't matter. You've seen me. This is the second year. You've literally seen me probably make 30 mistakes, maybe even more. I'm the math teacher. I don't get embarrassed when I make mistakes. It doesn't happen. It's just math mistakes. It doesn't mean my life is horrible. It doesn't mean I lose my free lunch or my snacks. Right? In the Army would say you lose you used to get a ticket for lunch. And we would always say, hey, you screw up, you lose your lunch ticket so you don't get lunch. It doesn't happen. But if you show up to math class, this is a message for all of you, not just Jenna. You show up to math class, yeah, your butt's going to do some math. I'm going to ask you a question in front of everyone, And yes, you're going to answer. Yes? That's the agreement that you and I make. If you don't want that agreement, you're not coming here, right? Because that's the agreement. I'm a little tired of like trying pulling answers from you. I want you to pass the class. I want you to go on to high school. But that ain't going to happen unless you agree to this. And you let me help you, or you help yourself, however you want to think about that. Just participate. That's it. But when I ask you questions and you're like, oh, why in the world are you asking me questions? Because you're in a math class. There's not a single person here that nearly every day I'm looking, who don't I ask questions of? Please.
You don't.
You don't.
Jace, I ask questions of Jace infrequently, right? But I absolutely ask him questions. I just asked you a question, Christian.
You haven't asked me one for 3 weeks.
That's because you keep getting.
You're annoying.
Jenna, so what's the message there of that 4-minute speech? Well, yes, please. Yeah, just don't, I don't care. Well, I gotta phrase this correct. I don't care if you make mistakes, in the sense of, that's the learning process. I know you talk in front of everyone in front of the class. There are occasionally, I get some kids that are deathly afraid to open their mouth in class for whatever the reason. You're not one of them, right? You are afraid to make math mistakes in front of other people. Get over it, right? I know that's easy for me to say I'm a math teacher, but I'm saying it's not that big of a deal. If you make a mistake, we'll fix it. If we never fix it, guess what happens on tests? Well, you've already got it figured out then. If you make the mistake in class, then I'm going to submit to you. I don't think you'll make it on the test. All right, final answer here. Thank you, Jenna, for allowing me to do that. Final answer there is 5 goes into 60 12 times. And wait a minute, it was 0.5. Yeah, because remember, we got to move the decimal place once. So x equals 12. Questions? All right. We got to do some with decimals, and then we'll do some with fractions, and we're done.
I did this one.
Oh, and Landon couldn't do the one with fractions. So let's see if you guys.
Yes, I could. Yes, I could.
So now do the second one.
I got to do it.
The steps are good. Jenna, you working? Well, not once in your life. I've seen you work before. There's no hot lunch for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, and I forgot.
I didn't bring one.
Well, there's gonna be some grumbling stomachs today.
This kiddo this morning literally asked if anyone needed to call their parents for hot lunch, and you're like, no.
Okay,
Oh, I thought there was one.
She said
It's
she
fine.
said
If we
that.
get
She
our.
literally said that yeah, she has been saying it all week. She's been like, no hot lunch on Friday.
And for the next 2 weeks.
This is part of the learning process, right? You know?
How
Still
do you
doesn't know how to tuck
it
in
right
his shirt.
now? Like, where's my mess
All right.
She's like, yeah, mess up.
I know, this is the first day he's actually tucked in his shirt.
What?
Don't do it.
Yes.
What's your deal with like untucking your shirt? I don't get that.
I don't like it.
All right, first one. I saw this mistake on a couple people's paper. When they did the subtraction, they didn't line up the decimal places. You have to line up decimal places when you do subtraction. 0 from 8 is 8. 5 from 3, well, you can't do that. Borrow 1, that's 13. I got an 88. And 3 from, I got a whole bunch of 8s.
How do you do that?
Now I got to divide 8.88 or 8 8800ths by 2 4/10. No. A little bit of scratch work off the side, Gabby.
Wait.
We actually do that math. We get.
Can I say what I got?
Is it right? Go.
3.7.
The actual answer is 3.7. Yes.
Oh, that's a first.
Okay.
You're a first.
All right.
You're
Back up. Hey,
the one to talk.
guys. Let's not be rude to each other. All right. Next one looks like we're adding 3.3 instead of subtracting. We're going to add 3.3. Once again, I purposely made these requiring you to line up decimal places. That's going to give me a 5, 11, 6, 4. So what? 46 and 1500ths. Doesn't look like they're divisible, but I made them nice and friendly. They are divisible. So we do the long division there. We get to a final answer of 6.5.
Wait, how'd you get that?
This is not a class on long division. This is a class on algebra.
Math mystery?
So where? What step?
He's right. He's right.
What step?
I want to do.
So that's just the one.
Speak. What step?
The one. The one.
That's not a step. That's a number.
No, I'm saying like, how do you get that because of the one? It's the
Which step?
one. That wrong. The multiplication division.
Are we talking about the addition or the division? Which step?
Yeah, how do you get one?
You gotta tell me the step.
How did you get 46.15? He doesn't know where the one came from.
So how did I add and get
No.
46.15?
The one on the other side. I thought it was just one.
I have no idea what you're even asking.
Hi, look here. Look here.
I don't even know what you're asking.
Okay,
7.
Kai,
Yeah.
the first step is I add 3.3 to both sides, yes? So is that your question? So I get that. Is that your question?
Yes. How do you get 7.1?
Because it says 7.1. It does, I didn't do anything to it. The next step is when I do something to it. Right? Doesn't the problem say 7.1?
I thought it was the number 7 problem.
Ah. Oh.
Smart.
Hey, now he got me saying it. Yesterday it was him saying, not me.
I thought it was mine.
Okay. Point taken. That's did you think this was number 2 then?
Yes. Math mistake.
All right. Well, I can't argue with that. I can see why that could be a problem.
Wait.
I didn't go from 2 to 7.
Well, that would be for me. That would be a key point there. All right. So I made a statement that it said there were some times when you might not want to get rid of addition and subtraction first. So we're going to look at some special case ones. Okay. So here's your first 2-step special case one. Special case because it combines whole numbers and fractions. Okay. My recommendation is still always to get rid of addition, subtraction first. So what am I going to do first?
Add 13.
So that's pretty easy. Add 13 to both sides. Now we're back to last night's homework. How is 2 attached to B? So what are we going to do to both sides? Multiply both sides by 2.
Yes, sir.
The 2's cancel. We're left with B is equal to what?
30.
Thank you.
I'm at B over 1.
Oh, that's true, actually, by the way. It's the same thing as that x plus 0 step. We just kind of skipped that, okay? But he's right, it is B over 1, but B divided by 1 is B. We okay?
Where are you? Like,
We're not done
math
yet.
class should be done by now. It's been like 38.
All right, I'm going to skip the check step here, go on to the next one, because Friday. All right, one more time. Grayson, what are we going to get rid of first, the 4 or the 10? How do we get rid of minus 10? Add 10 to both sides. Be careful. Positive and negatives. Positive 4. That's the nice thing and why I like teaching upper level kids, because as soon as I don't have to say these rules, okay, same or different signs, add or subtract, right? But some of you, it's going to take to Christmas, right? Others of you, Grace is one of them, that can do it pretty quickly. What's attached to T? How's the 4 attached to T? How do we get rid of division? Multiply both sides by 4, therefore T equals
16.
Okay. Negatives will cause problems only because people will drop the negatives. Caden, which one we get rid of first? -6 or 4?
4.
How do we get rid of plus 4?
Minus.
Okay. Same or different signs.
I can say,
So what's the answer?
negative 4.
Negative what?
Negative 4.
Same or different signs means add or
Wait,
subtract.
oh, yeah. So just 4.
Okay.
No.
Same or different signs, you said same. When you have same, Caden. Same sign means add or subtract. Okay, the statement I just made with Grace, and I said, hey, some kids pick up really quick. I like that. Other kids, it takes till Christmas. Caden, you are a Christmas kid. So for the Christmas kids out there, to put it in a nice, happy idea, you just need to have it in front of your face until you have this memorized. Okay? If you cannot look at this and you have to think this through, I mean, literally, you're thinking it through, I'm going to suggest you're a Christmas kid, You need to have those rules in front of your face at all times until you're like Grayson when he literally just looked at the numbers and said, it's not 12 either.
It's positive.
Okay, I think there's a bunch of Christmas kids out there. It's not that, okay, this is the year that we, listen please. Listen, stop and listen. This is the year, 8th grade, when you figure out positives and negatives. Like I said, some kids can do it right now and not think about it. Other kids do think. It's okay to be a Christmas kid, but it needs to be in front of your face. All right. Have a good 3-day weekend. I'll see you. I'll give it to you Tuesday. Yes, I will. What? I didn't say no. Hold on, I just said no. No, I'm not hitting the chestnut.
No, I really want to come here.
I was right, Mr. Trigger. I was right. It's 1 and 1/3.
Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend.
He said I heard till Tuesday.
Shortstop is. Jana, are we okay? See, I know you can talk. I'm talking right now very loudly instead of doing like this. Kick it. Big volleyball girl, come on. I got muscles all over you. I think he may have already grabbed it. Yep. I do. You on the test? Did you open your book during the test? Why? I know, so why'd you open your book? I can't give you credit for that. All right, I'll do that again, because that technically is cheating.
Bye.
Hello.
I'm back. Did you listening?
Pencil, I need that. I need this
I'm surprised by how easy it is.
Yeah, they're on.
No, speed run time.
All right, clear your desk.
I already left the dead ball.
Clear your desk, quiz.
Oh, quiz. I'm gonna get a 10 and a half.
All right, that's the quiz. All right, voice is off. Voice is off. If you have a protractor, pull it out. me see it. There is a front and a back. There is a front and a back. You must do both. You must do both. Be careful. It says measure in millimeters, not centimeters. It says measure in millimeters, not centimeters. Okay, it didn't say it's time to talk. You can start as soon as you get this.
Yeah.
Yes. Says name the type of angle, classify it. Doesn't say draw it, it says classify it. Yes. Hey, mask on, for those of you who have your mask off. Yes. Do we say again? Okay. I will send you down to the office when you're done with your quiz. Yes. Sure, if you want to. You do not have to draw anything, but if you'd like to, you can. Don't waste time drawing it until you're done. Yes. Classify it. Read the instructions. Literally read what it says. Bless you.